Hello again from my front porch. I there's a phrase that I've used many times, and I've heard others use many times. I don't personally think that it's a bad phrase, but apparently it's rising on the list of trigger phrases that can really set off people on social media. Now, I have a theory as to why that is, and of course, I'm going to believe I'm right. I don't know. You might agree with me. You might not when we get there. But first, let's start with what the phrase is. The phrase is that goes both ways, or it goes both ways. Variations of that statement. And what it generally means is somebody saying they can see both sides, or that they see somebody saying, if there are two sides, and it seems like almost everything anymore has two sides, but that they say, okay, well, here you're bad mouthing this side, but the reality is this side does it too. Whatever the issue is, that goes both ways. That's the general concept. Now, there are some who will take that differently. Let's say it goes both ways can be described for a door. Those doors in restaurants and stuff that, will swing both ways in and out. The door goes both ways. Roads, highways. You get on that road, it goes both ways. It's because it's not one way, it goes both ways. There are even some who would apply it in a more intimate way, which we won't get into. I'm not commenting, not judging, whatever. I'm just saying there are many ways that the concept of it goes both ways can get applied. But the one I'm talking about here, just for clarity, is this concept of where somebody makes an observation that one side or the other does not have a monopoly on basically being a problem or causing issues or being screwed up. That whatever it is, that goes both ways. Now, I'm going to tell you out front, just a full disclosure, this concept is foundational and fundamental to the way my brain is wired. It just is. And then maybe it's because I get older, maybe I just get more cynical as I get older, I don't know. But when I look at a situation now, I don't look at, oh, did you hear what they said? Oh, they're so horrible. Blah, blah, blah. My first reaction when I hear what they are doing is the people attacking them. Because more often than not, my experience has been, whatever you're attacking them for, you're probably doing over here too, and your loud attacks from this group to that group is more a deflection so that people aren't looking at you and how you're doing that very same thing. Because if we can do that, if we can get people to not pay attention to what's going on here and to focus all their frustration here, we can actually get people to get angry at this group for doing what this group is doing, but nobody's paying attention to this group that's doing it, but will vilify this group and let you off the hook because you're the one who pointed out here. It is really, you want to take us to the base concept. It's the whoever smelt it, dealt it concept. because it's like, the person over here going, hey, who did that? Did somebody let one? Did somebody do? And of course, the whoever smelt it, dealt it concept means it was probably you. You're just trying to get the blame deflected to other people. So that's the way I'm wired. You can take that however you want. But I'm suspicious. I'm skeptical of when I see one side or the other being accused or being bad-mouthed. And so I will always, now if you can prove me wrong, if you can show me that, nope, only the one side is guilty of this, cool, I'll admit I'm wrong. But rarely am I ever wrong on this. I don't care what the topic is. And okay, you know what? Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's plunge right into the scary area of politics. Oh man, this concept of the phrase that goes both ways being a trigger, whoo, just try to say it or anything even like it in a political discussion on social media. I dare you. because here's what happens. We now have become so polarized, so divided, so red versus blue, so boom, 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 that the real diehards, the hardcore extremists on both sides are absolutely convinced of their superiority, of their noble intent, that they can do no wrong. And even if they do something wrong, quote unquote, it's okay because they're doing it for noble reasons. Case in point, I see the governor of California is now out there saying that he's going to try to ram through redistricting in his state so that he can thwart Donald Trump's agenda by minting brand new Congress people before the next election. The problem is California has a committee, a citizens committee that's made up of bipartisan and it was created through vote of the people in California, and that's the group that has to do any of this redistricting. But the governor of California is wanting the Democrat-controlled legislature to ram this through because it's purely a strictly partisan thing. He's doing this because he's upset about what appears to be a strictly partisan thing Republican-wise in Texas, where they're talking about creating new districts. And so his response is to do the very thing he's accusing Texas of doing, and in order to do it, circumventing, going around a body that was created by the people to express the will of the people. Now that's messed up. But it's an example of, okay, literally both sides doing the same thing, but whatever your motivation is, he's going to say that these extreme measures that he's doing are justified because his cause is noble. His cause is good, but those Republicans, they're evil, and that's why we have to do whatever it takes to. And in the process of that, there are blinders on. They don't even see how hypocritical the whole discussion then becomes. You cannot condemn something, say it's bad, and then turn around and do it even more than the people you were criticizing for it. You cannot claim you're on higher ground if you're just going down and wallow in it with them. That's just that doesn't work out. Unless you're wanting to feed into it goes both ways. Because that's all you're doing then is validating that concept. Now I know there are going to be people who are not going to like that. And I know, you're picking on no, because the folks in Texas, they shouldn't, I don't think they should be redistricting leading up to the midterms. I mean, it's out of sequence. It's not when it normally happens. Normally there's census and then there's a redistricting and there's a standard process. Now, there's no law against it. There's no provision that says they have to do it these certain ways. It's just become the pattern. It's the precedent. And so when Texas now is wanting to step out of that precedent and do something else, yeah, it smacks of politics. It certainly does. And so, I'm not gonna deny that. But by the same token, some of the politicians who are the most vocal against it all happen to be the names on the short list wanting to run for president. Well, now, isn't that convenient? And you got the governor of New York, you got the governor of Illinois, you got the governor of California all saying what Texas is doing is bad. But have you looked at the district maps in those states? Have you seen the level of gerrymandering already implemented in those states? I mean, it's and the Democrats from Texas fled to Illinois to avoid having to be in Texas, so that They couldn't be voted on. The redistricting couldn't be voted on because they weren't there. There couldn't be a quorum if they weren't there. And they chose to flee to Illinois. Illinois, which, I mean, seriously, the congressional map for Illinois is the most bizarre thing. They're complaining about efforts to gerrymander, in their opinion. I don't know, whatever. They're complaining about efforts to gerrymander in Texas. And so to make their point, they flee to a state that's already massively gerrymandered. The difference is Illinois is gerrymandered in a way that benefits Democrats, whereas Texas is talking about gerrymandering to benefit Republicans. And therein lies, well, but we're doing it for noble reasons. Both sides would say that. Both sides doing the same activity. And that's where we get back to it goes both ways. The only people who are bothered by that concept are those who do not want to admit that their side may have some blemishes. Their side has a very tarnished halo, if they have a halo at all, for that matter. Because to do that would actually cause you to have to stop and think, what's going on with my side? Should I be asking questions? Should I be paying attention? Do I have to actually engage my own brain and think rather than just seeing memes and bullet points and talking heads telling me, hate this, like this, hate this, champion for that, resist this, block that, wave this sign, and I could go off on a whole nother tangent with this stuff. I mean, you see protesters out there. I've lost track of how many video interviews I've seen where somebody goes up to someone waving a sign, protesting, out there screaming, and they ask them just basic stuff like, okay, you're fighting against the oligarchy. What's happened that you define to be that way? And they can't answer that question. They can't even define what oligarchy means. Oh, we got to fight against what Trump is doing, all the laws he's breaking. Well, what laws has he broken? And the person will just roll their eyes and go, oh, well, if you don't, I can't even, I'm not even, there's just too many. I can't, because they don't know. They're literally out there protesting and they don't know why. They've just bought into the emotion of it. Somebody else told them, you need to get out there and protest this because this is bad. Now, are there some who know? Yes, there are some who know. Absolutely. The problem is all these other gullible people who mindlessly jump on board because they won't accept things go both ways. They believe my side is right, your side is wrong, our side is noble, your side is evil, our side can do nothing bad, your side can do nothing good. Therefore, we are going to do battle on every little thing. There is no middle ground, no compromise. It is battle, battle, battle. And that's stupid. It's just stupid. Because if you strip away and I'm not even just talking about now, let's just forget politics for a minute. It doesn't matter what the topic is. Sports teams. Oh, Lordy, we can talk about sports teams. I've got a really great friend who hates the Kansas City Chiefs. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. And we do battle on Facebook all the time. Now, it's okay. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. Funny enough, it bothers other people that see us because we'll jab at each other and stuff. And then we'll turn right around and be messaging with each other and we'll have a good laugh over it. We're done. I'm not out there on the field. I'm not a Chiefs player. I don't care. I want to see him win, yes, but that's it. I don't care. Beyond that, it doesn't bother me at all. And so the fact that he hates them and good. Meanwhile, if you say something against his team, he doesn't like that. Well, who would? You say something against the Chiefs? I don't like that. Well, but what if it's true? Doesn't matter. I don't like it. We do this though. We fall into this mindset that whatever the topic is, politics is a really easy target for this conversation, but this goes into so many. I even see it in the workplace. I see where a concept or an idea or proposal has been rolled out and people start to divide and they start to take sides. And once you take a side, you stop, listen, your brain checks out and you stop objectively looking at the situation, because when you lose track of the concept that it goes both ways, you pigeonhole yourself into a position that now you have to focus on defending rather than simply making sure what we're doing makes sense. We can't let ourselves do that when we have decided this is my turf that I'm going to defend. So, I'm going to keep using the concept of that goes both ways, and I know I'm going to keep upsetting people and ruffling feathers because they don't like to hear that. They think it's a cop-out. They think it's a put-down. And my favorite is when you say, well, you know, that goes both ways. Oh, yeah, well, give me just one example of how it goes both ways, and I can give them like 12. And they're like, you're just doing that, and they come back with their usual standard stuff. And I love when I use that because depending on the context, I'm either a knuckle-dragging Trump supporter watching Fox News, which I'm none of the above, or I am a tree-hugging, brainless liberal who has my head in the clouds, which is also not true. However, whoever you're using that it goes both ways phrase on, depending on which side they're coming from, they will lash out and attack, because no longer do we want to be rational. No longer do we want to have a dialogue. No longer do we want to learn and communicate and gather information and digest it and come to real rational conclusions. No. We want to carve out a side, and we want our side to be right. Period. Don't bother me with details, and do not try to mess up my plan with it goes both ways. No solution. Until we get to a point where people are willing to be rational again and stop thinking in terms of passion and emotion and reaction, it's not going to change. In fact, it's probably just going to get worse, because there are just too many people that will simply accept what's handed to them on social media, and they'll just take it and run. They won't ask questions. They won't use any objective critical thinking. They won't stop and consider, well, wait a minute. Is my side acting inappropriately? Is my side not doing what they, lest you think that I'm just preaching or I used to be a diehard Republican. I've talked about this before. I mean, I was a Republican before I could vote. I was a young Republican chair in my county. I was a young Republican leader in lots of different campaigns, got to meet lots of officials. And as I got age to vote, man, I was Mr. Young Republican. I was active, I was involved. And that continued right up until I ran for state Senate myself. And then I saw behind the curtain, and it was very disheartening and very disillusioning. And ever since then, I have stepped away from that precipice. I am a registered independent. I still have some aspects of me and my beliefs that lean to the right, but I have a lot that lean to the left as well. Not enough that I would say now I'm a Democrat. No, because the Republicans, well, they irritated me, and that's why I'm not there. The Democrats, they irritate me, and that's why I'm not going there. And with this attempt to erase the it goes both ways, it really feels like both sides are doing all they can to make sure I do not want to align ever with either one of them. So I'm not just saying this because I'm trying to rag on one side or the other. I'll rag on both of them. Equal opportunity ragger. All right, well, did you notice? I still got my Ellie bracelet on here. I really thank you, Eliana, for my bracelet. I love wearing it. I wear it as much as I possibly can, and I'm not going to stop. And it's still a great conversation piece. People ask about it, and then I get to say, oh, my granddaughter Ellie. Anyway, all right, rambled on long enough. I'm going to let you go, and I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.